All right, I see comments. Yes, you see me. Yay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So again, you can pause for a second, make note of the time of the actual time for the video. All right, welcome to Thrive Hive Live. This is Monday night Monday morning and afternoon for you all. I'm calling in from Spain, so it's early evening for me. But every Monday we go live to talk about a step of launching your business. I have a framework of 21 steps available to you, and it's a roadmap. It's not a precise checklist. It's kind of a guide to help you figure out, like, do I understand these different aspects of building a business? Because you're great at your craft. That's why you decided to do what you want to do. But how to actually turn that into a viable business takes a little bit more knowledge. So that's what we're here to talk about every Monday. And I will now, hopefully this comment post wherever it needs to be, but also check the descriptions, because we have the 21 steps are available for you to download and kind of look at and think through now. But also the course book that we're going to be using today is available, and it also includes the 21 steps. So last week we talked about understanding your why and your boundaries. Like, why are you starting a business? And what are your boundaries so that you're running the business and it's not running you? This week we're twisting it around a little bit. We are looking at what is our offer. And really, when it comes to an offer, I know when I first launched this business, at first it was like, well, I do X. But however, what I learned through the process of building the business over the next year was, that maybe wasn't the best offer that we can really go out with. That's something that we love and enjoy, and supports the clients that we want to support, or the customers we want to support. So that's why we're looking today at defining our offer. And I'll go ahead and pull the course workbook up now. I'm going to pause for just a second because I'm only not seeing all of your comments yet. So I'll have to figure out where those are hiding out. But, oh, Michelle says she cannot hear me. All right. Okay, so it looks like Michelle says she can't hear me, but I can hear myself. And Tom says he can hear me. All right. I think we're getting closer. All right. So anyways, defining our why was last week. Today we're talking about our offers. And so let me pop our little workbook up here. And I did share the workbook in the comments. Let me do that again, actually. That's not gonna work. Actually, what I'll say is, Liz, if you're listening, if you can grab the links that are in the description and put those in the comments for us, that would be very helpful. Or we can pop them up here too. And of course, somebody's trying to call me as we're doing this. No, go away. Stop. It's funny. Last week I had all kinds of different tech issues, and I'm feeling better about this week. We're at least in the right place. All right. So getting back to it. So I put the course workbook up, and this is something I'm putting together for each of the 21 steps. It's something each week we'll look at a new step, and then making these videos available forever. And the course workbook is your free gift this week. So you have 7 days to download the step 2 workbook, and that will be good here on out. So again, step 2, getting clear on your offer. And I say version 1, and I say this very intentionally because I firmly believe whatever the initial offer is really a V1 test or an A/B test. I know for myself, it probably wasn't until about version 5, 6, or 7 that I'm on now. It's probably going to continue to evolve. But when we're launching, it's important to get something out there and start testing it early in order to make a forward movement. All right. So the framework is really a Venn diagram. So it's thinking about 3 aspects of an offer that are really important. And in this case, I'm looking at 3 different areas that when you build your offer with all 3 of these in mind, you're building a business that you enjoy, that supports others in a meaningful way, and is something where you're not working as hard because you're doing something that you're good at, that you enjoy, and it's truly helping other people. And it's not only the doing, but when you talk about this, talk about your offers in this way, and when you see the framework come together, you'll find that you're not pitching this thing that you do, but you're having a conversation of a way that you support and help another one. So we're going to look at the 3 sections, and we'll dig in a little bit here. All right. So the first step for this part is to really look at, what are you good at doing? What are your skills? And I'm going to pause for just a second, because one of the things I'm curious about in the chat as well. Sorry, I forgot to say this earlier with all the bells and whistles going off. But please share who you are in the comments, where you're at, and what you're building these days. And I encourage you all to also connect with each other, because Thrive Hive is all about the hive. It's about the community experience. And so I'm hoping that you'll see somebody within the comments, that's somebody that could support you in your business, or that you want to connect with, because we're building connection and going. So please do put your LinkedIn information in the comments. If you're coming from YouTube or something else, share who you are, and let's connect and keep the conversation going and support each other. All right, so getting back to the 3-circle framework, or our Venn diagram, the first thing is, what do you do well? And in this, I want to encourage you is not just what was your last corporate job, but what do you do well in general? Because we have transferable skills that help support us in many different things. And so I'm going to give you a second to pause and think about, what is it that I do well? Like what, your last corporate job, or what you're doing for your business right now. But maybe also some things that you really enjoy that either have some transferable opportunity, or make you think about a whole new business. Who knows? Because in building a business, we really want something that feeds our soul and doesn't suck it all away. So I'm going to pause for just a few minutes. And if anybody is feeling courageous, I'd love for you to put in the comments, like what are some things that you're really great at doing that may make for a great offer that you can provide to potential clients or customers. All right, so as you're thinking about that, I'll talk a little bit more about what that was for me. And, I am good at dealing with data, especially financial data. So you'll hear more about how my offers evolved as we go through this. But my first offer was bookkeeping, and you'll hear kind of the reason for that and how it evolved. And it was as simple as, I didn't do this the right way. I didn't think about the 3 circles here. I was like, oh, what's a good remote business to start? A lot of articles say bookkeeping, and I have an accounting background, so that's what I'll do, bookkeeping. Again, that was V1. It's not what I do today, but it kind of set a foundation. And I liked it. I'm glad I get to tell you the story. I'm glad I get to tell you that my V1 was, I do bookkeeping, and all of the challenges that there were with that. And so it is something I'm good at. So if I only went with 1, then I'd be good. I'd probably still be offering the same thing, but that was not the case for me. Other things that I'm good at organizing, planning, risk analysis, all kinds of areas around there that when I talk about transferable skills or how that can support other people, all of that was in the IT sector, but those skills are also helpful to solopreneurs building new businesses. So I can take what used to work well for me in helping people build IT projects into your project of your business. And so that was one of the strengths that I offer. All right, we got Michelle with risk governance, strategic planning, project management. Hey, there's my my clone over there. Same kind of thing, but the transferable skills. It's like, okay, well, this is something I do, but how can I apply it outside of IT? So that's one thing I want you to encourage you to think about as you do that. And then the second circle is, what do you really enjoy doing? And hopefully there's a few things out of this list that are really fun for you, and that's why you do it well, and maybe why you had your profession. But I'll use the bookkeeping example as well, is I really enjoy helping solopreneurs get out of spreadsheets and bank statements and into bookkeeping solutions that make sense. I enjoy less bookkeeping month to month, the day-to-day grind of it. And so, for myself, the amount of time I spend doing that is fine today, but as my bookkeeping client list grows, that's the first thing I'm going to look to outsource, because I want my day-to-day work to be stuff that's really fun. And so I want you to encourage you to think about this, because there might be something you're really good at that makes really good money, but if you don't enjoy doing it, is it worth it? And that's really what this is all about. All right. And so really looking at these skills, like which of those, the skills from the step one, what really stands out. But maybe this gets you thinking about outside of that box. Is there something I really enjoy doing? And now that I think about it outside of the context of work or my business, is there a business to be built around that? Or is there an offering within my existing business to be built with that? Because the goal is to build an offer that you're great at doing, that you enjoy doing. And then now we'll move on to the third circle, which is what will people buy? And this is kind of a tricky one, because it's like not just what people need, but what they understand they need. Like they know the problem that it will solve. They're interested in solving it. They're motivated to do that. And I'll come back to that bookkeeping example again, because when it comes to the very small solopreneur, the entrepreneur, it's, in my opinion, everybody could benefit from bookkeeping. But when you're bootstrapping and having to make hard decisions about where to spend money, then that doesn't show up high on the needs list. And so I came to terms with the idea that, yes, everybody can benefit from bookkeeping, but that doesn't mean everybody feels it's necessary today, and recognizing that my offer needed to change to reflect that. Now, in my case, I did a couple things to support that, to still help the solopreneur. And one is recognizing that the problem that a solopreneur is most likely to be interested in solving is to get out of spreadsheets that don't make sense, to stop doing 5 hours a day or 5 hours every Sunday, getting caught up and still not really being tax ready. And so for me, as I evolved, it was thinking about, what does that look like for the solopreneur that I'm working with? What would be something they're interested in solving? So what do you need? And again, I guess the point I want to make is, because you think they need it doesn't mean they think they need it. And so then the decision becomes, is this something that I can convince people that they need? Or do I need to accept that not everybody needs it in the way I think they do, and maybe there's something else that I can offer? So again, going to the bookkeeping example, I switched to do-it-yourself support. Like, the solopreneur doesn't need a big monthly package for me to do all of their books. They need to know they're headed in the right direction in using a software solution and processes and training so that it makes sense to them. So it softened things a little bit, but still, so if I were to go back to it for V2 for me, going back to my past experience doing projects and leading teams and helping people get organized, thinking about cost benefit, what solution is going to give me the biggest benefit, is in another area that I was really looking at was this idea of community. And so how can we build a community of people that are supporting each other? And for me, part of what that was, when I started showing up to networking events, especially brand new, it's like everybody's so polished, like this is what I'm doing, and I felt so far behind. I really wanted a community where we could show up where we are and support each other versus pitching and selling to each other. So that's part of where Thrive Hive came from, and that's why it's a hive. So really going back to my evolving offers, started with bookkeeping alone. And then it went to Thrive Hive as a mentorship option. But here was the challenge in that. This bootstrapping solopreneur doesn't have a lot of extra money sitting around for mentorship. And so then started looking for, what can I offer that will meet their needs? And that is courses along with the community. And then these Thrive Hive Lives are about giving to that community today. So even if you're not able to, spend the money on mentoring or spend the money on a subscription with the community, getting the word out there, because I am passionate about solopreneurs having all the information they need to understand the nuts and bolts of their business beyond the craft and the zone of genius, because it's huge. And this was personal learning for me. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about sales. Automation, I knew it was a good idea. I didn't know how to use it. And so this becomes a space where we can all share our collective experience and our strengths to help each other get past that. And yeah, Patrick's like, I need it now. There's a big difference there as well. All right, so now that you've thought about your skills, your interests, those things you do that make you happy, and what people actually need, now you can start to put together that first that first offer. And we'll kind of look at a framework for that. So we won't go into this too deep, but really looking at, okay, so given this framework, I'm going to look at my other page where I can see, like, I help solopreneurs to find the resources and support they need so that they can learn about the aspects of building a business that they don't inherently know from what they did before. And the transformation they get is, sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. Whoop. Transformation you get is building with confidence and less rework. So my catalyst for doing this is I have done a lot of rework over the last year, starting with the bookkeeping offer, going to the Thrive Hive with mentorship offer. And now I feel really solid in that the things that I offer will be more accessible, more affordable to those that need it, that bootstrapping solopreneur. So that's kind of how this evolved for me. But I'm going to try to shut my mouth for about 30 seconds and let you think and reflect on it. And if you want to put something in the chat, that's great. Again, download the workbook and you can work through this later. By the way, if you already have an offer out there, but you're starting to think, but is it really everything I want? It's okay to revisit your offers at any time. It's okay to evolve, because when we evolve, we get stronger. All right. Looking at Elizabeth's, yay. Yeah, important to pre-prioritize when you get going. I agree, Michelle. We are amazingly flawsome. I love that, Patrick. And you're sharing, hopefully you're all connecting with each other, because the more connection we have, the more, for me, the more connection I have, the more I feel supported, the more I have certainty that there's opportunity available for me. All right, moving on. So for most of the rest of this, I don't want to go too deep. Like you have the workbook, but I want you to think about this offer now that you have structured what it is. So like Elizabeth put hers in the chat, and Patrick has a really great point here that help is too vague because it's overused. And I find myself all the time having to strike that help and be like, but what am I really doing? So that's a great point. All right. You have to test your offer. Like whatever you wrote in the previous thing, there's a really good chance that it's not going to be the thing that really clicks and brings you the revenue that you need to survive. And part of that is because we have to know whether others do need and will buy that offer. And so I want to offer you two different paths in order to get clarity on that. The first path is define it now and test as you go. And this is great for you if you just want to get something out the door, you want to start floating it in front of people, but you want to have some clarity on what it is, and you don't mind re-engineering it down the road. That's probably the biggest thing, because in this case, like I have an offer, I'm going to offer X for X amount of money to solve this problem, and here's how I'm going to talk about it. So you can do that. But just know there's a really good chance that you're going to have to make some adjustments down the road. Now, even with path 2, you'll probably have to make adjustments as well, but it's going to be less likely, less chaotic, less of a shift. So that's really define now and then test as you go. So come up with your offer and start talking to people about it, which, by the way, is next week. And then this path 2, I am really intrigued by this idea of like, before I even craft my offer, let me start talking to people to find out if it's something they're going to build. And I'll give you an example of that again from my own life. So I'm currently in Valencia, Spain. I plan on staying here for quite a while. And I have a business idea for a storefront business that I'd like to build. And it's only loose in my head right now. But one of the things I do is I meet entrepreneurs, as I say, hey, would you be interested in, and to hear what aspects of what I have in my head would be of interest to them and which wouldn't. And I'll just share it with you briefly. It's basically like a living room for nomads where they can come congregate, like a digital nomad could host a work session. If there wasn't anything active going on, there'd be an opportunity to do co-working from there. But it's more than that, because I was looking for resources for nomads where like a free flea market, like this, the crap that you can't bring to your next destination, leave it here, somebody will want it, or a consignment opportunity. So like, like an air fryer. I had a neighbor here in this building who's like, oh, I would love that because I bought this air fryer and I'd love to sell it on consignment through something like that. And so really it gives me an opportunity as I meet entrepreneurs here in Valencia to ask, what boots on the ground support do you need? And so that's path two, where like before I even get crystal clear, I'm going to just start talking to people and find out what they really need. And then from there, now I can shift it. So there's a big difference between coming up with an offer of what I think everybody needs and then talking to them and finding out and making adjustments, or just talking to a lot of people to find out what's really needed and then start to think about, well, how do my skills and how do those things I enjoy doing fit into that? So again, the path is yours to take. I'd say, one, no, you might have to shift a little bit sooner and a little bit further. Two, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to that initial offer. So personal choice there. All right. So we'll skip over the next page, but really, an opportunity to think about, how do I want to get clear on this? And again, if you're already, in business, chances are you're rethinking your offers on a regular basis. So think about these opportunities for your next business. All right, let's see, where are we going to go next? As far as talking to people, and again, next week we're going to talk more about, it's called practicing your pitch, but it's your network pitch, not your sales pitch, which brings me back to something that I think is really important to talk about here. Because we're building our offer by asking, what am I good at doing? What do I really enjoy doing? And who needs this? Instead of coming up with an offer that says, I do bookkeeping, you're actually putting together all of the pieces you need so that you can talk to other people about what you offer, but not in terms of what you offer, but what benefit you give them. If you have this pain point, then I can get you past that through this solution. And that's different than a pitch. And so I really like thinking about the offers with this framework, because it's not like I do X. It's like, I support clients in this way when this is where they're at and this is where they want to go. So hopefully it makes a little bit of sense. I didn't say it quite as cleanly as I had hoped. But again, I think it's a really good idea to think about the offer in this way so that you can really talk about, what you do in a meaningful way. And kind of makes me think of another point. I recently heard that, passion really changes how you talk about what you do as well. When you're really passionate about what you're offering because it meets all of those three criteria, now you're having a conversation about how you support your clients instead of a pitch on you need my thing because honestly, if you think they need your thing because you're probably wrong. Like maybe they'd be better off with it, but until they think they need it, and to Patrick's point, unless they think they need it now, you're not going to get very far. All right. So again, we'll talk more about this next time, but when you're thinking about either just, having people check in on your offer that you did develop or talking to people to learn what might be needed, it's a little tricky to think about, well, who? And I want to encourage you at this point to let go of any hesitation to talk to your personal friends and family, because they have a lot of insights and they have a lot of connections that can help you get there. And your friends and family, they want to support you in this endeavor. They they want to see you succeed. So don't be shy about saying, hey, can I practice my thing on you? Because I just want to get some feedback. And also with each other. So hopefully you're connecting in the comments here. And I'd go an extra step is like, if you're willing to hear your the other participants offers to bounce ideas off of each other, say something in the comments so you can reach out and learn from each other what's resonating, what's needed, how is it going, because the earlier you can nail in, kind of drill in on an offer that truly supports your skills, your interests, and is that thing that others really need, the sooner that offer is going to be profitable. So if you're willing to connect with others to talk these through, put something in the chat, reach out to each other. Let's support each other in building these offers. By the way, Thrive Hive, the community, this is what it's all about. And this is something that we do on a regular basis. When building in more meetings to the community, so we'll have more opportunities for that type of connection to really lean in and support each other in this mystery that is building a business that's so much more than whatever our craft is. All right, so jump ahead here. So putting it all together. So once you have that offer defined and you determine that there is interest in actually doing it, interest in buying it, that it is something that is going to sell. Now you're ready to start putting it together. But I want you to know that, the message is it's probably going to change. And that's okay. In fact, you might want to build in little checkpoints for, am I getting the revenue I anticipated from this? Am I reaching as many people? If not, what do I need to shift to reach more people? Of the people I have reached, am I meeting all of their needs, or is there a gap? Is there more I can be doing to really support them? And so no, this is always going to be evolving. It's not a one and done, but start looking at that. And I shared, some of my evolution originally. It's like hourly bookkeeping, which, by the way, hourly bookkeeping was a really dumb idea. I see Tom is in here. He knows what I'm talking about. But at the time, because I hadn't been exposed to how bookkeepers are working today, I was just thinking, well, how do I figure out my value if I don't know how long it takes me? But quickly, I learned that actually it's not that hard. And so I shifted to packages, fixed rate packages. And then, then I switched to, not everybody needs my packages. They just need to know how to use QuickBooks Online in a way that supports them and doesn't overwhelm them, because QuickBooks Online is meant for accountants. It's not meant for solopreneurs. But when you get onboarded with intention and you're shown only those things that are important for you to help run your business, it becomes an entirely different story. All right. And then next, I guess the question to this group is, what are you committed to do in the next week? So are you going to spend some time with the Venn diagram? Are you going to have some conversations maybe with your current clients on your current offers, or potential future clients, or just the type of client that you hope to get, to find out what problems they're trying to solve, so that you can start to figure out how you may be able to help in them solving that. And so with that, in the workbook, there's a book you can read. So The Lean Startup by Eric, went too far. The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. An article, you can Google this article, how to find your unique value props. And then one of the things I tend to do in these workbooks is also include a Gen AI prop. So whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT, you can have this conversation in a safe way. And so the prompt was like, I am your work bestie who is good at organizing and finding new solutions. I enjoy, researching and helping solopreneurs get started, clear the path for a business. Can you help me refine this into an offer statement? And then see what narrates. So kind of what that generates for you and how you can evolve that. So yes, I think that is it for the workbook. And again, the 12 steps are also in here. The link to the workbook is in the descriptions, and I think we put it in the comments as well. So with that, you can actually get a head start to what's coming next. Practice your pitch and start talking about that. So we kind of got a little bit of a head start on that here in step 2. But step 3, we're going to talk a lot more about effective networking and how to really kind of build an audience around the problems that you're trying to solve and those clients that you really want to serve. So with that, I'll pause for a few seconds and see if anybody has any additional questions or comments. Thank you all for the comments in the chat. Sorry, I have to look over here to see them. They didn't show up on the screen over there. But I'm so thrilled to see the comments out there. And thank you all for participating. Hopefully we'll see you next week. If you know others that would benefit from any of these from these topics, learning more about launching your business through the 21 steps or Thrive Hive in general, please send them my way. Would love to grow this audience, grow the community, and support more solopreneurs in building with confidence.